Hi FlossTube, it's Elisa again. I am making my third video. Technically fourth. The third video I made didn't come out very well. I would have had to edit it a lot. My dog was barking a lot in the middle of it. So I said, no, I'm going to completely redo it. I haven't gotten around to it because I haven't been feeling up to stitching, so I haven't really had anything to report. But now I have since gone to my LNS, which is called Gita's Petit Coin. There's my Quebec French for you. Shop in Mississauga or Port Credit, Ontario, right outside of Toronto. We have to rent a car to go there because we do not own a car. We live in downtown Toronto. We get everywhere walking or taking the public transit. So cars are expensive, and so is living in Toronto, so one has to give. We have a car sharing that we use, which is awesome. So yes, Gita's. I love Gita's. It's so much fun to go there. They are all encompassing LNS. They do knitting. They do all kinds of needlework. Like their name is, they do Petit Coin is one of the main things they focus on a lot of, but they have all the classes and everything. It's just everything you need, and the walls are covered in finished stitches that people have done and framed. They also do framing, so do like actual needlework framing. I don't know how much. They are a little bit more expensive, I guess, you can find online, but the experience, I like the experience I get from their knowledge as well is part of the experience of going there, so I don't mind paying a little extra. So yes, I don't often get to go there because the cost that we're going to spend there on top of the cost of renting a car to go, it adds up to an expensive trip, but it's my birthday in a couple weeks, so we had to make a trip out. I'm so glad we did. We found lots and lots of stuff. One of my main reasons for going, I think I mentioned it in my first video, was to find darker fabric for my Storytime sampler. Because this is how, I'll show you, get this out of the way. This is what I had previously done. I had stitched along through to March, made a few changes, but I've stitched it. It was on 16 count Crystal Storm Ada from Picture This Plus. And the colors just seemed a little too muted on this. It didn't pop. The background, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'm kind of glad I only did this much work before deciding to change. I'm glad I hadn't done the banner and the all the frames like a lot of people have done, because frankly that would have been really annoying to restart. So I went to Gita's in the hopes of finding the right fabric. I knew I didn't want to do it on Ada because I'm fine, especially this Crystal Ada, it has such texture to it that it muddies the really nice, crisp. That's what I really like about Frosted Pumpkin is their nice, crisp, clean designs that are, simple but not simplistic. I guess there's a charm to them, and part of that is being able to see the designs clearly. I don't know. Everyone's aesthetic is a little different. I know that in the instructions, there was a comment made that this is meant to be a very faded, kind of like an antique look. And I think they've accomplished that beautifully. And I bet on the proper linen fabric without the crystals, it might have been okay. Because I've seen it stitched on that. And I think the colors pop just a teeny bit more. But anyway, I've been seeing a lot of people post on the Frosted Pumpkin Facebook group who have gone darker. and it was just a matter of what kind of dark I wanted to go for. So I go there, and they have stacks of hand-dyed fabrics and separate, the Aidas and the linens, and I knew I wanted an even weave. I'm still a little unsure of what is what and how things are labeled, because they seem to be labeled in different ways, different places. So the first fabric I found was this very raw linen looking thing, and it looked like old papyrus, something you see out of freaking Egypt, but it was Bradford linen? I don't know, but I looked at it very carefully, and it was not an even weave. It was very rough. I loved the look of it. It was something in Midas. The color was called Midas. It was very gold and blotchy, and it was beautiful, a little bit more fabulous. But yeah, I wanted an even weave, so I was going for a 36 count even weave. No, 32 count even weave, or 16 count process if you do over 2. So much to learn and retain in this hobby. And I was looking and there's nothing catching my eye. And then I went to the 28 even weave just to see if they had any colors, different colors that I wanted. And I found this piece from Picture This Plus, and it's Gothic. It's called Gothic. It's really dark. Well, I'll show you what I've done. So I found this piece of fabric, and I was so stoked. And I had colors there that was from the pattern, because I really like the colors that are in the pattern. I think tonally they work well with each other. Some of them could be changed just to either darken or lighten, just to not blend into each other so much, which I'm going to do. But overall, I really like the patterns and the color choices and stuff. It was just the background. I was having a hard time seeing what I was stitching. So it's a beautiful kind of a deep aquamarine and purple streaks through it, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I came home on Saturday, so 2 days ago, and immediately put it together and started stitching. So I will show you that later in my whips. But I also, no, I'm going to have to show it to you now anyway, because while I was there, my boyfriend was very, very sneaky, and he was trying to find a stand for me. Like, I've been complaining that I've been wanting to work two-handed. I've been trying to learn to work two-handed, stitch two-handed, and I can't do that if I'm holding onto a frame. So I've been looking at stands, and of course there's the stand and the Millennium frame that Carolyn unboxed and put together, and which awed me. But that's a bit bigger of a purchase than we can make at the moment, as well as the time. There's no way it's going to arrive for my birthday in 2 weeks. So that's more of a put money aside for it. But we did manage to find, this was a suggestion from the owner of the store, Catherine, I believe her name is, and it's kind of a Q-Snap lap frame, but it's not Q-Snap like branded. So that's what it is. See? And I already have it. This is so far my Peter. I don't know how well you can see it. It's probably, I'm looking actually through this. Probably see me through it. Yeah, you can't see it because of the light directly behind me. Hold on. There we go. There's Peter. Isn't he cute? And I completely removed the mermaid because it was one of those, it blends in, parts of it blended in together really badly, and I didn't want that. I didn't like it. So I ended up making a little crocodile of my own design. See if you can see it. There you go. That's it. That's the best shot. I still have the red to do in the pirate ship and his feather and the belt and his shoes, and a little bit of water at the bottom. And the frame, of course. The frame, I'm not sure. But anyway, so see this thing? This thing is fantastic. Apparently it's from R&R Craft Frames. That's what it says right there. They're, I think, a little bit bigger than Q-snaps. They just feel like regular PVC, not like the Q-snap plastic. These don't have as many grips as a Q-snap, but that's okay. I'm finding this very tight, actually. And it can be used both ways. It can be used like this, or it can be also used like this for a smaller project or a long project, which I really appreciate. And it's perfect. It doesn't actually sit in my lap. Well, I guess it sits right in my lap. And stitching. That's fantastic. It's just really nice. It's lightweight, very lightweight. Holds the tension well. That's why I kind of cut this a little bigger than I needed to, but I wanted to make sure I have a lot of room on the sides for, I mean, there's going to be another thing here, another 2 here, so it's not too much bigger, but, and of course the comparison, so this is the size of, on the 16 count Ada, and this is the over 2 on the 28 count Lugana is what I ended up getting. And I like it. I actually like that it's a bit bigger. It kind of adds itself to the patterns a lot more. I am incredibly happy with this fabric. You can't see it, but especially because there's a light directly behind me. But the colors are, oh, you can kind of see the streaks there a little bit. There's all these wonderful streaks of dark purple and reds, and it's just dark blue, and it's just fantastic. And I love it. And what else I got from there? I got a package of needles, because as you saw in my last video, needles were, the needles I had on hand were horrible, so I just got Bowens. They're what I use, and I find they work really well, and they don't get burrs on the inside. But I also picked up these. Now I saw these in someone else's video and I cannot remember who it was, so please tell me if you recognize it and I will give you I will edit this video to include your name right here. So these are the twin pointed quick stitch needles, and I don't know if you can see, they have an eye in the middle and they're double-ended. And since I've been recently wanting to try the two-handed method, this seemed to work, this seemed like it was going to work really well. Unfortunately, and I'm looking at this one and it kind of is too, fortunately the first one I took out of the pack and I used it on a few sections, and my left hand is a little dumb and needs to become a little more dexterous before I manage to get my speed up the way I do. I usually just do when I reach behind and get it that way. My frame, though, is a little bit too large to reach around like that, so it was hurting my arm, so I started with this. Unfortunately, my thread seems to travel a lot on this, and it frays it, and it makes it bushy, and I don't like that because I like the nice, flat, glossy stitches. So I'm looking at this one, and this one is not as bad, but they're still there. It's very, very rough, and that's a problem unless I can figure a way to secure it in the middle so it doesn't move on the needle. I don't know. Does anyone have any suggestions for these? I don't know if anyone else has used it. I think when I get a hang of the double-handed, I can usually train myself to use my left hand to do things. For years, I smoked ambidextrally, and I don't know if there's any other smokers out there, but I've known smokers who are like, you can smoke with your left hand? And I'm like, yes. Doesn't it feel weird? No. Because I used to smoke my car. And so we're driving in Canada, we drive on the left side, so I need my cigarette on the left side for out the window. So that's the double-headed stitch. I'm happy I picked them up, but they are disappointing in that they fray my thread. So some of the other things I picked up was a couple of spools, and where the other is, a couple spools of Krennic, one in gold, one in silver. I knew I was going to use both gold and silver in my Storytime sampler so far, so those are usually the good metallics to have on hand. Oh my gosh, I saw their whole Krennic everything blending film. Oh, beautiful. So this is the number 4 braid. Yes, well, these are number 4 braid. Never used Krennic before. I'm going to need to look at how to use it. If you use just one of these threads, or if you use 2 of them, because I don't think you split them, because that would be really too fine. I think you use the whole braid, but you double it over where it says 2 strands, or you just use it as one, because it's kind of thick. So anyway, if anyone has those answers to those questions, I'm going to look them up anyway, but you could save me a trip. So, metallics. I'm hoping they're better than the DMC metallics I got recently. I also got a handful of floss, very specifically bought for my next whip that I'm going to kit up and work on, which I'm very excited to work on. I'll talk about that more in my whip. I also rated their weeks collection and got a few more weeks. I love weeks. They are so pretty. This, you can't tell, but it's called Blue Heron. It's a kind of a silvery blue variegation. Absolutely beautiful. My colors here are too washed out, I think, to do any of this, but this one you can tell. This is beautiful. It's blue bonnet? Yes, blue bonnet. Absolutely beautiful. Bright, 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 bright blue. Gorgeous. This is Love, because it was a pink floss. And I'm a bit of a pink fiend. And then this is Grape Ice, which is this really cool pale violet to kind of a silver purple. Really hard to see on this. And then this one, Ultraviolet, which looks blue for some reason, but it's not. It's like UV. It's ultraviolet. It's very, very dark, kind of blue violet, and then a lighter violet as well. So those are all added to my stash, not for anything in particular, probably for frames for my Storytell sampler. I have a few options. I don't know if I'm going to go. This one is supposed to be done in seafoam, and I hated the seafoam floss on the Storm fabric because it did not show, but I think it's going to look very nice on here. I just don't think it's the right color for Keter at this time. So I'm thinking maybe the Blue Heron, or very possibly another one I have in my stash already, which is the Julian, which is kind of a purple and blue and green. Sorry, purple and green variegation, which is very pretty as well. So, unfortunately, with all these, the DMC I got, I can't actually kit them up until I get my new storage container. So I have this storage container. This is all my floss that I own currently, and as you can see, it's full. So, and I only have a very few amount of bobbins. I don't even think I have enough to bobbinate everything I bought on Saturday. So what I ordered another one of these containers off of eBay, not eBay, Amazon. And you get the container and you get 50 bobbins with it. So that is good. Although I know there's more than 50 bobbins in this one. So anyway, 50 bobbins will get me through. So I'm waiting for that to happen until I kit up my new one. And so that's what I got there. I got that there. That's my haul, I believe. Yes, so it was a pretty good haul. I got lots of pretties, and it made me want to come home and stitch the night away, which I completely did. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is whips, I think. And my first one was, I'm going to talk about, is the one I've been working on most recently and who unfortunately has become a bit of a thorn in my side, and it's the Sailor Moon, Eternal Sailor Moon. She is, I worked on her a little bit for like over the weekend during the Orange is the New Black stitch along, and it was going pretty good. I got the pink all done in her here, in her boots, in her thingies, in her skirt. And then I started on the orange, the darker orange. There's two oranges. And that's the shadow in her face. So it's a lot of this color. And it's not confetti, it's kind of a snake. You see, it kind of snakes up here and it snakes around here. So there's a lot of planning my stitches to be able to stitch with long amounts the most I can. The back's starting to get a little messy now from that, so but there's a lot of colors for this thing. A lot of the different, like there's an orange and then there's a lighter orange and then there's a yellow and a white as well in her, and then there's two dark blues for her wing and a medium blue and a lighter blue and a white. So there's a lot of colors in her, and she's definitely a lot more work than she looks and I thought she was going to be. But overall, really rewarding. She's very pretty and she's going to be gorgeous at the end. But I need to work on something else to kind of cleanse my palette and not see how much work I have left on her, which is why I'm so glad I got the stuff I needed to start my sampler. So I already showed you that one, so that's going to keep me going for a while, hopefully. I did Peter because I had the really good idea for the crocodile, and also I wanted to start in the middle and stitch something I hadn't stitched yet in the sampler. So, sorry, I was still stitching something new. My hope is to work backwards and finish stitching up all I have, so I want to get up to date on that by, ideally, the best would be August, so I could stitch the August one at the same time. More likely the September, so that in September, October, November, December, I can actually do the stitch along, and that should be good. I am not going to do all the frames because I think like the idea of matching colors to the frames and having different colored frames for each one. So I might do the banner, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do the banner in the proper color or something different yet either. I'm looking at this blue heron, and it could be really nice on my fabric for the banner. So we'll see. And I have another little whip that I didn't talk about earlier. It's a kit that my boyfriend's mom got me when she was forgot herself actually, and then she gave it to me. She was hearing about all the stitching I was doing. It's a Scottish castle, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. That's the name of it. It's Eilean Danan Castle. I have completely butchered it, and I'm sorry to all Scottish people out there for that. I desperately tried to look on Wikipedia for a pronunciation guide so I wouldn't butcher it, and there wasn't one. Go figure. But it's really pretty. I looked up a picture of the castle. It's really cool, and they've captured it quite well. But it's this very little simple castle, and it's so neat. It is made by, let me see, and it was a whole kit. So it was cross stitch. Oh, I don't know if you heard that. That was my phone notification going off. Sorry about that. It's cross stitch was designed by Brenda Willis, and there's a email, and yes, so very pretty. And this is I can't show the pattern, but the pattern is hand drawn Like, I can't show it now. It's hand drawn, so even the on graph paper, but then printed off. So it's a little hard to follow at times because the pen marks, some are thicker than others, and if there's quarter stitches or if there are half stitches or quarter stitches, it's very confusing at some points. Some of them have like a stitch here, a stitch here, a stitch here. How can you get 3 different stitches in one stitch? That's ridiculous. So it's been a little bit troubling and hard to work on, but I'm hoping to work on it more. I'll show you what I have done so far on it. I got this beautiful, I also got this little tension ring. I love these. Why did I not know these existed? These are fantastic. And that's what I have so far for the top little part of the castle. And it's really kind of fun to just work on 14 count Ada again. It's, my stitches all look really, really nice on it. So it's very cute. I like it. It's very castle-y. Very cute little cross stitch thing. It came with all the flosses and everything. I want to go to Europe and just try to find more of these. Apparently there's other patterns that they do. It just seems like the most fantastic souvenir. Go somewhere and see a castle, bring home the cross stitch. It's fantastic. I love it. My next whip to be, I am going to pull up the pattern. I just recently bought this pattern because I'm still getting notifications. Where the hell did my phone go? I'm looking for it to turn off the sound, but oh well. So I've been following this one designer on Etsy, Robin's Designs, for a little while now because she does 3D cross stitches, which means she cross stitches stuff and then makes it into either a doll or most of her things come out as dolls. I think she has a few dice which kind of come out more looking like balls. But that was not a good motion. Why did I do that? That's not good. Trying to find. So Robin's Design, she also does a lot of Kiki dolls. So she's done the dolls for, she started I think with the 10th Doctor, the Tenant Doctor, and has been doing all of the Doctors. She has a TARDIS pattern. She has just all kinds of really cool patterns. And she's been working on doing all of the Doctors. And I am a big Whovian. I used to watch as a kid, very rarely, but enough that but the Doctor I grew up with was the 5th Doctor. That was the one I saw the most of. A little bit of the 4th Doctor, but mostly the 5th Doctor. And so, he's my first Doctor, and you always have something for your first Doctor. So I told myself, as soon as she does the pattern for the 5th Doctor and releases it, I'm going to get it immediately and stitch it up, and it's going to be my first 3D design. And I get it, and that's what it's going to look like. I don't know if you can see all my, oh my god, excuse me, all of my patterns are on my tablet if I can help it. And so this is basically the picture of the finished product that came with my pattern. The TARDIS was not included. It's just included in the picture. I'm thinking of getting it, but these kind of ridges, these are all like stitched in ridges right here, and they make me nervous. So I might need to do other ones. Other good points about him is he doesn't have any hair like some of their other ones are. She makes hair out of the floss for some of them, like the 1st Doctor, which she has both a a black and white version and a color version of. Basically has hair made out of the floss, and that looks painstaking. She also does animals. She recently did a horse with like a mane and fetlocks, and it's fantastic work. I love her stuff. I've been desperately wanting to stitch it, so now I can. I have a big roll of DMC white 14 count Ada that I've been figuring out what to do with, and that's going to be for these, because I think any smaller it might be hard to put it together, because it's not going to be very big. I think it's going to come out to be about this big. So, and I also like a project, a cross-stitching project that has its own finishing with it. You know, you already know what it's going to be. It's going to be a doll. So I don't have any filling for it or anything, but that's a while from now, I think. So I'm going to start that as soon as I get my other compartment box to my next compartment box from Amazon. So with that one, I'm going to have actually 4 active whips. 4 active whips! I went from like 1 active whip a few weeks ago. That's fantastic. I like the variety. Changing it up is helping me a lot. So the last thing I wanted to do was a tag, and I wanted to do this tag specifically. I'm going to go back and do the other ones that have been done, but this is a brand new tag, and I really wanted to be one of the first people to answer it for her. So this is going to be the Joy of Cross Stitch tag by Sonia at Cat Crazy Creations. Hey Sonia, thanks for this tag. I really enjoy it a lot, actually. There's some good questions in here. So, now question number 1. How did you learn to stitch? I learned to stitch because my mother was in a craft circle when I was growing up, and it was her and a bunch of her friends, and they would get together and craft. They would do a bunch of different things. Sometimes they would do paper work, quilling, I think is one of the wrap the paper and make pictures out of it. Really cool stuff. She did some paper lampshades. She did some scroll painting on wood, usually projects to hang for decoration. My mom was a very decorative person. And then they would do stitching sometimes. My mother likes these simple stitches a lot better than samplers, very simple stitches, not things that are full coverage or anything like that, and that's what she enjoys to stitch. She had one friend though who was a very avid stitcher, and who stitched beautiful, full coverage, amazing things, especially around Christmas. I remember an angel she did one year, which was absolutely beautiful. Like, it was just breathtaking how pretty it was. And that made me want to start stitching. The stuff she did was fantastic. So my mom got me a couple of kits that I showed you earlier, and that's how I got into it. And I loved it. But I had the attention span of a teenager, so I didn't keep with it for very long. And then I had all the skills I knew I had. And then when I picked it up again this fall, I had all the skills. I knew how to do it. Now I'm learning about all the other things I want to do with it, and it's becoming a real hobby for me. So something that started in my youth, which I kind of overlooked for many years, has come back to bite me on the proverbial butt, and I'm fine with that. So that's the first question. Second question, I should not close this with questions. Have you ever taught anyone how to stitch? I have, because I have an 11-year-old, which is ironically the same age I was when I started, who saw me making all this really cool stuff and wanted to learn herself. So what I ended up doing is finding a very simple 3-color pattern of a Pokeball and getting her all the stuff for it, her own little hoop, her own little everything. I should have it here, but I don't. So I'll put a picture of it here. Um, and I told her how to do it, and it was, pretty good. She kind of obsessed over it for a few days, and she finished it up really quickly, a lot quicker than I thought she was going to. There's one little error. The bottom is one row too big, but that's okay. It looks fine. It actually looks better. It gives a little more dimension. So, yes, I have taught someone to stitch. She recently got a second frosted pumpkin design, and she was really excited to stitch it. It's a little girl on the unicorn, and we got her all kitted up for it a few months ago, and she started with the frame of it, and she does not have the attention span to make sure that every stitch she's going is going in the right place. She's just too quick. She just wants to stitch how she sees it. And then, so the first one, her frame didn't line up. The second one, I kind of gridded it out for her a little bit to help her, but then she kind of just put it away. And I'm fine with that. She can put it away, but, I'm not going to get her any more stuff until she finishes the one she has prepared right now, even though she has dreams of doing all the Pokemon and all that kind of stuff. Cut that out. Okay, so number 3. When you stitch, do you like to watch TV, listen to music, or just have quiet? I like to watch TV. I don't do quiet very well. I'm home a lot, and I don't like to be alone with my thoughts, so I like having something on in the background to kind of create a white noise. I watch a lot of things I've watched previously. I enjoy that. So I'm currently watching Scrubs, and I'm finding that perfect thing to stitch to because I don't have to pay attention to what's going on. I know mainly what's been going on. And I'll look up every now and then, oh, it's this episode. I like this episode, or whatever. And it's great to be stitching back to. I was stitching to Lost, but then Lost got to be a little too much for me, and I decided to put it away for a while. I sometimes also stitch to podcasts, and that's fun as well. When you use a kit, which company or companies do you like the best? Well, I haven't used many kits. I've had maybe 3 or 4 kits in my life. Probably the best kit I've gotten is from The World in Stitches, who did my Hogwarts crest, which was in my previous video, of which I am extremely, extremely, extremely proud of, and which is fantastic. Unfortunately, I know some people have been asking me about that pattern because the Etsy store is currently down. Unfortunately, I did reach out to the seller, and she will not be bringing those kits back. She is moving on to something else. Apparently, she's publishing a book about cross stitching. So good luck with that. That's fantastic, I think. But she has decided she's not going to do the fan stuff, I guess, anymore for her own reasons. And you know what? Those are the best reasons. So it happens. And I know I have a pattern. I know gifting patterns is fine if you have copies of patterns. And if you want to gift a pattern to someone, that is perfectly acceptable. Unfortunately, my pattern is extremely marked up with highlighter. It's a color pattern, so the highlighter kind of ruins the differentiating colors, but it doesn't. You can still see the symbols. So it's workable. It just might not be very fun to work off of. So if everyone's desperate to do it, I'd be more than happy to send along the pattern to someone else, so they could do it, especially since it's kind of discontinued at this point. So that was the kit I liked the best to work off of. And I was going to buy more kits. She had individual house crests as well, which I really wanted to do. So what are your favorite designs to stitch? I like many different kinds of designs. I don't really do the words a lot, although my most Isley sampler I did for my boyfriend had words in it, but that's absolutely. I like nerdy stuff, Sailor Moon, Harry Potter, Star Wars. I like animals, various animals, dragons especially. I have several dragon patterns I want to do. And yeah, so lots of different kinds of stuff. How do you get ideas or inspirations for your projects? Online. You guys, FlossTube. You guys have, I've already told you guys how much I've had to put things on my to-do list because you guys have mentioned them. I'm like, yes, I want to do. Let me have the fun do. So I really enjoy watching what other people do and using my inspiration there. I also do. I'm on Reddit, which is another good place for stitchers, and a lot of sharing of free patterns as well on there. So, how do you store or keep your charts? I don't really have that many of them that I have stored, need to store them yet. So yeah. Do you stitch for yourself or give to others? Half and half. I've now stitched 3 gifts for others in this year, and now I'm doing a few things for myself. So about 50-50. When you take your cross-stitch projects in the car to appointments or traveling, how do you carry all your supplies? Well, I haven't had to do it very much, but when I do, I carry them in my kick-ass Wonder Woman bag. I saw it once. It's a reusable bag. I saw at a record store. God, it must have been 3 or 5 many years ago, and it's very narrow, so it fits projects very, very well. So all my stuff goes into there, and it's also my portable around the house, bring my stitchings from room to room bag. Because if I leave them anything out, they are prone to be shedded on by my various creatures. So what do you enjoy most about stitching? I love this question. I enjoy the fact that it lets me accomplish something. It lets me work something with my hands and know that the finished product is something that I'm going to cherish or someone else is going to cherish because they're going to see my work and the effort I put into it. Well, hopefully they will. It's also very therapeutic. It works in with certain fundamental changes I'm trying to do to myself at the moment, and becoming more, not accomplished, but accomplishing more things is part of that process. So this is definitely helping me in that regard. And it's now allowed me to reach out to this community, and I think that is fantastic as well. So I think that is all. I don't think I have anything left to show you at all. I will do other tags in next videos. I probably won't do another video until I get another frame done on story time. And I still need to pick out the color of the frame for Peter. So I'm probably going to do Charlotte's Web next because I love Charlotte Web. That movie was watched so much in my household. We had it on video cassette, and we watched it a lot, me and my little sister. And yeah, so that's a very special frame for me. So I'm going to be doing that one. Not making too many changes to that one, I don't think. The only kind of change I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make the sheep's wool out of colonial stitches to make it look really kind of fluffy. I don't know how it's going to turn out. It could be very bad, but we will see. I'm loving how the the background is so smooth and the stitches really stand out on it, and it's just yeah. And this I am so proud of. So that's my back. I have taken tips and tricks from so many people over the last few months, from the loop start method to the pinhead stitch, which I just learned about thanks to Carolyn. Thank you, Carolyn. The pinhead stitch is fantastic for this kind of thing because you have lots of little 1 or 2 stitch areas where you just want to get those stitches there without having to worry about. So, you know, there's one there, I think, a cool pinhead stitch there. You know, I think the eyes I did pinhead stitches, and so I'm not traveling thread all over the place and making it look messy. So I think it's awesome, and I'm extremely proud of it. I don't even want to show you the back of what I did so far. I mean, if you like that, that's what I was doing previously. So it's just a kind of a point of not pride, I guess, that I'm getting better at and it's. See, I show my pattern to my mom often, and she'll always look at the back, and she's like, you know, it's always a good telling of how good a stitcher is if their back is as good as their front. And I also with a lot of you people, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm never going to be that neat of a stitcher that I'm going to be able to manage to do that. But I find it makes the front look cleaner. It's weird how the being aware of the back and how much thread is being carried and stuff makes your stitching just neater and cleaner and more even, which especially for the Storytime sampler, which you want to see the stitches because the stitches are the main, not focal point, I guess, but they're very much in the forefront of the pattern because it's a very simplistic type of stitch. So my non-stitching news, because I know there's some musical theater buffs in the audience, I got a gift from my parents for my birthday, and it's a $100 gift certificate towards Mirvish Theaters, who are currently putting on Newsies. Yay! I am so stoked to go see it. So we're probably going to end up seeing it in August. Since my boyfriend works from home and I'm currently not working, we're probably going to try to see a matinee to get cheaper seats to be able to get better seats. So I'm really excited. I got my love of musical theater from a very young age from my father, who took me to see Phantom of the Opera when I was 11, and then I was hooked. And then we saw like one musical a year for much of my youth, and it was fantastic. I've seen a lot of Andrew Lloyd Webber stuff, Wicked, and I didn't really get in. I haven't seen like Jersey Boys or We Will Rock You, although it was playing here for about 5 or 6 years when I first moved here. Maybe not that much, maybe 2 or 3. It was playing continuously, but I never managed to see it. It didn't really interest me. There's a few shows I've only listened to the soundtracks of. I haven't actually seen the shows, which I want to see. But Newsies is a musical I got hooked on when I was a teenager when it first came out in the 90s. And I was drawn to it. I wondered. It's funny that they're doing this because they should have done this when it first came out, but I guess it didn't get the grab that it was supposed to get. But it is a full-fledged musical movie, and it is huge with a huge cast. And I know every song by heart. I know every part of dialogue. It is one of my absolutely all-time favorite movies, and I'm probably going to watch it a couple times before I end up going, just to remind myself how wicked awesome it is. And so, yeah, happy birthday to me. So excited. I have been to the theater in a long time, so this is very exciting birthday. So on that happy note, I'm going to wish you guys a happy day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.